Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? It's a Tip Touch Podcast back at it again with a brand new motherfucking episode as always. And of course, I'm not riding solo on this one. I got my boy Brett with me in the virtual studio. And today is going to be, we were just talking off air. It's going to be, this is a part of history that we're leaving. It's my last day recording a session here at the Casa apartment. We're going to, we're elevating. So we're moving up to bigger and better things. So yeah, this is last episode in the apartment. And we'll be proceeding. Great. But aside from that, bro, how you doing?
Hey man, I'm hanging in there, just doing, we had a crazy week of news, right? But for any of you that haven't heard, Prince Philip died. That's been really crushing me.
Couldn't take it seriously. I'm sorry. You got me on that one. I was like, is he being serious right now? I'm about to edit that shit immediately.
I don't even know who that guy was.
So Prince Philip, just for people that don't know, like me, I am aware that he died. Obviously, rest in peace. So was he's part of the royal family, I'm assuming, right?
I don't know anything about him. Ask Meghan Merkel.
Meghan Merkel.
I could care less about my English counterparts. About their royalty, about their system, I mean, it's just like, they care much about him as probably someone in England would care about Rick Santos or whatever politician died, like, oh.
Wild.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't care. Anyway, but the reality of it was the last time we recorded, it was crazy because we had just come off the night before Good Friday, which was not a good Friday for the hip hop community. With our dog, the main dog, DMX. He suffered a heart attack, which I did push back on the drug overdose. I did push back on that. But there was some false reporting that got out saying that he was breathing on his own. That was never the truth. That was never that never happened. But I am reading stuff from the articles with reports from the family saying that there was no drugs there other than, it's like people want to hang on to that narrative. I guess I'm still waiting for that official thing, but it was just sad because he passed away. He passed away, and the family was faced with a hard position that so many people have been in. And and one thing, there were just a couple of things that that really stood out to me about his passing, and it's about anybody's passing, right? We just live in a time where nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred. And I kept seeing a lot of negative comments, about his history with drugs, about his history with hip hop music, about his history with dogs. And, and I'm just like, who, it was very similar to the people that tried to maybe get a little clout for the whole Kobe Bryant and trying to bring up his old past shit too.
Exactly.
And it's just like, this is where cancel culture takes it a little too far, where these feminists were trying to get him canceled. Here he was in the hospital and these feminists are coming out trying to bring up his old lyrics to his first album or his early albums, I should say, about some of his lyrics, right? The hip hop community is just very, very street, very rugged. They talk a certain way. They talked a certain way back then. And something that the mainstream, something that these white liberal women know nothing about. And so I think that these white liberal women, these feminists, need to just sort of kick back and let the dog get a shine. You guys don't understand the culture. Stay away from it. Really, your opinion is not invited. So
amen, brother. Amen. You said it good. Again, man, rest in peace to X, legendary and the legend in the hip hop game. He's held at a caliber, I would say, as Pac, man, honestly, because he was raw as fuck, just as he was a product of the streets, literally the voice of the streets. And the past couple of days, I've actually been watching, I've been giving you some facts about little stuff I've been, watching about how he came up, like, because I never really dug into the history, like to how he came up with Rough Riders and just how a major figure he was. But honestly, man, we definitely lost someone so important to the hip hop game, man. And I feel he was truly himself. Like DMX was DMX. Like that's just how
Right.
I saw it. He was never out there to be put as, you would think like all these other cats, all in the rap game, doing a certain, like, it's almost kind of like you got to put up a character in the show of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But for him, it was just himself as like you get what you get, and this is me,
Well,
DMX.
and it wasn't just that, it was a message of hope and
Yeah,
redemption. And he knew that he'd done some crazy things in his
for
life. And that's
sure.
one thing that has the hip hop, the 90s hip hop, this new hip hop thing, it's a totally different
Oh yeah,
world. It's
total
not the
different
same.
shit, man.
But 90s hip hop, what was really cool about the 90s was these young cats could come up from these dire conditions, these urban conditions that where basically that America, the country, has left them behind. They left them in schools, dilapidated buildings, and very little resources to work with. And and I've seen it so many times where in the 80s, the CIA was the one that introduced crack to the uh, inner city neighborhoods. And so, in a lot of ways, the government could really be held responsible for what they've really done to the Black community. And when you see artists such as Tupac, such as DMX, so the thing about DMX, his message of redemption was he got caught up in drugs. He did
Hmm.
a lot of stupid things growing up, right? And what he used, he knew that he made it into the music. He knew that he was going to be a celebrity, a superstar, a
Hmm.
megastar. And from his first album, he always made sure that everybody knew that his relationship with God was number one.
Yep,
that
that's
that the
true.
world was not going to shake that no matter what the world was trying, and he held on to that until the very last video I saw of him with Snoop on Verses. I've not really checked that one out. I don't really I haven't really checked that out, but I saw Snoop post something. And this was before DMX was like, I was, when I heard that he was getting ready to release a new album, I'm like, what? And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden I saw him on Snoop,
Hmm.
Snoop's little thing he's got going. And I just saw how at peace DMX was, so I was like, and I remember seeing that, and I mean, it was just like, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. He's a positive, like he was just positive. He was so positive, and he just had a good outlook on life despite all of the hell that he'd been drugged through, some of it from his own mistakes. But he'd been through a lot, and he always kept a positive thing. And so it was, for anybody who was really paying attention to him, he was not glorifying any of the violence, any of the drugs, any of the anything that you wanted to hate him for.
Yeah, that's a key point. You actually
Yeah.
you brought up a good point. He never really, was about that life to, like, influence or have that message. Like, he would want to influence the negativity. I think he was just talking from real life experiences and all the stuff that he saw himself. And you're right. He did have a problem with drugs, and he admitted to it, and he was being real about it.
Yeah.
And in interviews, he would say it's just like, ever since that one time, it's just always been like, a new beast was born, and it was just a battle with, the devil himself, just like the evil that came with just, now that he's at the top, he's got fame, money, and all that. It's like a constant battle, and it's crazy to think, because another thing I want to bring up, Swiss Beats released a video talking about X and stuff, and this one where it got me really thinking. He said in the video that his type of freedom, straight up, he's like, the only way he could get free was when he went to jail.
Mm,
I'm like, damn, dude. Like, you would think of us like jail. Like, I don't want to go to jail. The fuck, But
right.
for him, his only way to really break away from everything and get away from all the fucking shit was just to go to jail.
Yeah.
He's like, and he would,
Well,
and I mean, he would. That's the dude that was like always, like, they came up together. He was talking about how they would rob together. They came up like, sleeping on the floor.
wow.
I
I
mean,
didn't
this
know that.
Swiss Beats was his dude. They came up like
Wow.
that. Yeah,
I did
straight
not
up.
know that.
Yeah, and like I said, I've like I said, I watched a couple documentaries where there's just a lot of stuff that, X, being the person that he was, he never had that switch where he's off the camera he's someone else. No, he was just himself at all times. He was like as real as they come.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like
okay.
it's
So
wild,
about
man.
you had, and I got to go back to the conversation about, we'll come back to DMX, but you reminded me of
Yeah.
something earlier this week. You were talking about how you didn't know that Rough Riders was a record label. And
No, so yeah, yeah, let me keep going.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, what I want to say, what the cool story about Rough Riders and was about Eve, how Eve was originally on Dr. Dre's Aftermath. And
Yes.
and she just, for whatever reason, it just wasn't a good fit, and Dre let her go.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, DMX and Swiss Beats, they really wanted her. And dude, they dubbed her the pit bull in a skirt.
Yeah,
And,
literally, that's what they said in the documentary. You're right.
yeah,
Yep.
yep. I remember those days. I mean, those were the days I was living in, and I just remember Eve, I just how rugged she was, but she was the perfect fit for Rough Riders.
Oh,
And
dude,
it was just
definitely.
so cool seeing what they did with that label.
Yeah,
And then,
no,
go
keep
ahead.
going. No, oh no. So I was just saying that I thought it was just more of like a motorcycle club up over there in New York and like in that area. I always thought it was like this, just like motorcycle club that X was really tight with, because I remember back in those days he was always riding quads and stuff like that. So I figured he's probably with the clique too, but I didn't know that was actually like almost an image like Death Row was in '96 and what Bad Boy was. No, they were their own like actual freaking like music group. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, shit. I was like, whoa, I learned something new. So yeah,
Well,
dude.
one piece of silver lining I saw in this, and if this is true, I just saw this on my social media feed. But I saw a report that Jay-Z and Beyonce bought the masters for DMX's music for $10 million and gifted it to DMX's children.
No shit.
So, I
Wow.
mean, talk about a power move like that.
Yeah.
I know I've knocked Jay-Z on a lot of things that he's done, a lot of things I've seen in the industry, but this right here, this might be one of those things where I like have to sort of kick back and be like, I don't know, man, that's pretty solid move. I know he's done
Hey,
other things too, though, man.
yeah.
It's just like,
No,
my
kudos have to
opinion
be.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter. My criticism does not matter when it comes
No,
to him.
but you're right. I mean, you got to give kudos when it's deserved. So I mean, I applaud Jay for doing that for his kids. I mean, I know X left like a daughter, a couple sons. I mean, he had quite a bit of kids, and I'm sure that's going to definitely help him out down the road in their future. So that's awesome. I mean, 10 mil like that, like nothing for his masters. I mean, the publishing and all that, dude. I mean, it's going to make some guap.
Wild.
So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
man.
good, man. No, but it's sad, dude. It's sad to know that, fuck, we when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, we honestly did lose someone like major to the rap game. So again, rest in peace, X, man. You're up there with Pac, Nipsey, all the greats that have gone too soon. So it's I hope he's at ease and hope he's
Yeah.
pain free. It sucks, dude. It sucks when this type of shit happens, just because
I've
it's been part of my history growing up, because you'd always hear those songs like Rough Riders anthems growing up. It was like the
Yeah.
shit back in the days. So
When that Rough Riders anthem came out, like that first down,
yeah.
I was like, when I was a kid, so that was 2 years after we lost Pac, right?
Mhm.
And so, here we were just clinging on to Machiavelli, but Machiavelli was sort of a different thing. It wasn't that same you could see that Tupac was in a lot of pain, but he was also there was a lot of turmoil going on through his life, right? And so at that time, and so anyway, we lost Pac, we lost everything there, and it just left a gaping hole with because I remember the year after that, 97, P. Diddy and the Fam came out with their album, and I mean, I've joked a lot about P. Diddy being my favorite rapper.
No, was it Mace or P. Diddy?
Mace, actually.
Oh.
Mace, yeah, Mace. It was only because he did the church thing, and I thought it was the most disingenuous thing, like because he came back as Murder Mace and did a bunch of stupid, like, come on, Mace, man, what a loser. But I mean, but Mace and P. Diddy both, they were just like doing this like almost like bubblegum pop, rap. And
yeah,
I'm like, man, I wasn't ready for that much like kindness or that much, I wasn't ready to
Yeah.
party that quick after these deaths of the two greatest icons in our generation, Tupac and Biggie. And
Yeah.
so when DMX came out, I remember like, oh my God. And it was a solid album. It's Dark and Hell is Hot was,
Yeah.
oh my God, I couldn't believe it. And I mean, even with I'm politicking with this chicken. And I was like, wow, this guy is hard. I love him, and
Yeah.
it was just so and I'm not gonna go into details, but I ran with a rough pack, and I remember like some of my craziest fights I'd get into. We'd pounce on some people, right? And then right
Yeah.
after, I remember jumping in a Jeep Cherokee right after we just pounded, this dude that owed me money. And then I just I'm scared to death. I'm like, oh my God, did I hurt him a little bit more than I wanted to? I don't
Yeah.
know, but you got to play this off. You got to be tough right now. And I remember just cranking his music.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I mean, he just gave you that vibe. He's like, yeah, it's good
Oh,
to be
dude.
tough.
Hey man, his voice alone, man, it's just like that fucking like aggressive, fucking, raw like approach, man. You can just point it out. Like he had a very he was one of his kind. And you know what's
Yeah.
crazy? In one of the interviews, I remember it's awesome because he said it perfectly. They said this is at the time when Pac passed away, Machiavelli came out, and then his first album came out. They were saying that there was a lot of comparison to how him and Pac, with the tattoos, bald head and all that.
Yep.
And he's like, I got nothing respect for that man, but if it's anything, I want to be a first of X, not another one of Pac or something like that. I'm like, whoa. I was like, there we go.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So,
dude, that music that you gave me earlier this week, the bars he was spitting, I'd never heard that, and that had to have been before Rough Riders anthem.
Oh yeah, that was as when he was coming up. That's when he first met Irv Gotti, and Irv Gotti even like realized his talent, like like just realized he was an amazing artist. He could spit bars. He was just he was the real deal, and he wanted to get in on that action before he obviously signed to a major or whatever. And he thought that song, it's called Make a Move, so everybody wants to go check it out. I'll put a link in it if anybody wants to listen to it. It's a really dope song, but it's called Make a Move. And he thought it was going to take off, like that was going to be the one song, but it never went anywhere. But like now, fast forward, like when I listened to it, because it was due to a documentary, they played a little bit of it, and I was like, damn, that fucking song goes hard. And I actually had to find it. Yeah, it was like, damn, I liked it a lot. And then to think like back then it wasn't, making it like to where it could be a potential like, radio smash hit or whatever.
Yeah.
It just never took off. So I mean,
I mean, I think that's also a testament of how good the music was back then anyway. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean, dude, that is on the New York end. You had so many greats. Tretch was just rocking it, man. Tretch could just tear it up. Any verse he got on, it was like, how is he doing this? How does he know this many words and be able to craft them in such a way? He was like a lyrical architect, and I'm like, what a master, but of course my allegiance was always on the West Coast, so I always supported the West Coast, so that it was more that flow, that slow flow, and like the Warren G, the Snoop Dogg, the Dre, but I love Ice Cube. He's always like, even to this day, he is one of the ones that I'm just like, oh please, Cube, don't leave us, leave us, because that will be too hard for me.
Yeah, man. One of the greats too.
Cube, I just saw a lot of, he was a huge influence. When you listen to Cube's earlier music, you can see that in Pac's earlier music, he was like totally using Cube as a reference,
Yeah.
And they had very similar flows. I'm like, I saw it.
Nah, man, it was, music back in those days, dude. It was probably like the peak of the rap game at that point, man. And it just went a different whole direction.
Yeah,
compared now, even now, man. It's just,
thank God for persistence, for DMX sticking with it and staying persistent and not giving up. His time finally came, man.
Yeah, nah, man. But like I said, it's a sad day. X, one for you, dude. Rest easy, man. And fuck. Let's just be what is it, reminded of all the good memories that he brought to people. And what's awesome is that on Twitter there was a bunch of people that were putting like their they've actually met him like in person. And in all the videos, like these people met, like fans, you know, he was just a fucking solid dude. Like would talk to you, chop it up, take pictures with you, just talk to you like a normal person. Like fuck, man. When you see that type of shit, dude, that's when you know it's like, man, we we definitely lost someone so great, dude.
He's the type of guy, if I would have met him and I was not baptized, I'd be like, X, can you baptize me real quick? Here, I'll find some water over here. Baptize me,
let's go to 7-Eleven real quick, find some water real quick. For real,
he's
man.
Just, you know, so he's in a better place.
Definitely.
And you know, no matter whatever comes out, if we do end up finding out it's drugs, then so be it, or whatever. But I hope it's not, and I'm really reluctant to say that it is. I think that you know, it was his time, and the angels were calling him home. It was his time, and think, you know, again, props to Jay-Z and Beyonce for pulling that move for his kids. That's amazing. That is what being a human is all about right there. That is like, you know, when people have those resources and they do it in such a powerful way, you just made his whole family's day. So
for sure,
silver lining.
Definitely, for sure. Let's switch topics real quick. Again, going from that, Neuralink. So check this out. They've implanted Neuralink on a monkey. The monkey can be, he's playing what's that game where it tethers the ball back and forth?
Pong.
Was it ping pong? No, not that one. Not the actual ping pong, but it's like the electrical one. I think it's like electrical ping pong, right?
Pong.
Yeah. So it's playing. The monkey is playing it with his brain using Neuralink. Isn't that wild? Like, no. Let's take time to absorb that. Think about that. So, for people that don't know what Neuralink is, Elon Musk, I call him the actual real life Tony Stark. He built this device where it'll be planted in your brain, like attached to your brain wirelessly. You can be able to control. He even quoted himself. Go check him on Twitter. He said that a human being will be able to control an iPhone 10 times as fast as an actual human being. Why? But I mean, cool. Just think about it. It's cool. But why? Like, Brad, would you do that? Like, be able to control,
I hope. So here's my theory.
Okay.
I mean, about Neuralink. I mean, okay. For one, I'm sipping a little tequila tonight, so
nice. I'm sipping a little Monster energy drink to give me, you know, cruising today.
Yeah, no, I mixed it. I mixed a little tequila with some rain fuel, and this one is Red Dragon. And nice. When I was sipping on it, I'm like, this tastes good with tequila. So, but anyway, so hopefully I can articulate the message the way that I want it to, and not go full throttle Alex Jones when he drinks his whiskey and just gets
her to control us.
Because that's where I want to go with it.
No, shout out to Alex Jones, man. He's such a cool individual.
Hold back. Oh, dude, the story about him losing the Bitcoin on the laptop. Did you hear that story ever?
I heard.
Are you the one that told me?
Yeah, I was telling you about that. Yeah. He was on that Andrew Schultz. Man, shout out to fucking Andrew Schultz and what is it, the Flagrant 2 podcast, dude.
Dude.
Listen to those shits all the time. But yeah, that conversation was fucking gold. So go check that out. But it's, dude, he's just himself, man. He's a fucking
okay.
I would want to chop it up with him for sure.
Yeah. But going back to so this Neuralink, right? And my fears are that when you have something that, you know, that is technology and you're mixing it with your human body, that we know that in this day and age that we live in, everything can be hacked. Everything, if it's made by man, it can be controlled by man. So where does this go? Where does this go? And I get the good parts, right? Yeah, I you know, and who gives a shit about being able to work your iPhone 10 times faster than the human, whatever. What it's all about is being able to like, say you're coming out of college, right? And we need engineers, right? So we need your human mind to rid yourself of the distractions. How many times are you at work? And you've got some things going on. Maybe you've got some issues at home. Maybe it's stress. Maybe it's family issues. Maybe someone had got sick in the family, whatever. and you're just like, you're trying to give your A game at work, but you just can't because you've got too many human factors going on. You've got
For
real
sure.
life going on, right? So I see the positive of Neuralink coming in to be able to, you can literally shut down that part of the brain to say, okay, I'm going to fully be a part of this task, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when do you get to be a human? Where do you get to be a human, and how far does this go?
Yeah.
And is this something like, say there is a shooting or a crime, someone robs a bank, right? And say it's someone, say you heard something or whatever, right? But anyway, what think of this. If they bring everybody in the room and they say, hey, what do you know? Wouldn't they be able to tell if you're lying or not
Oh yeah. I
just by the Neuralink? They would be able to process and download those exact images that you saw. Like, oh, but Brett, you saw him go in with the gun, but you told us you didn't see anything. I don't know. Okay, well now you're in jail. So what,
oh yeah.
how does all this play out when it comes to constitutional um liberties and freedoms and this and that? And again, so I think that technology is going way quicker than the law can keep up with. So what we really need right now is we need politicians. Andrew Yang is one of them. We need more Andrew Yangs in the politician
Gang gang.
world, so that they can be there and understand this stuff when these laws are coming to the Supreme Court. When, I mean, right now we're dealing with this whole thing with big tech, when they were suing Donald Trump. Someone was suing Donald Trump because he blocked people on his Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying you can't block him, and he said, well, it was my own personal Twitter page. And they said, doesn't matter, you're a public figure, you're the president, we need this is whatever. So that they were taking him to court. They threw the case out once he was deplatformed, once Twitter took him off the platform.
Mm-hmm.
But then Justice Clarence Thomas said, hey, we need to look at Section 230 of the whatever that FCC Section 230, or not FCC, but whatever, the Communications Act,
Mm-hmm.
that protects big liberties or big techs from getting sued by the things that people say on their platforms, right? That was the that Section 230 was the protection. But then they're going above and beyond, saying, hey, we're going to make these decisions ourselves. So anyway, so then they're suing Trump for doing this, and then whatever. So again, the tech world is going at such a pace. And now I'm in crypto, right?
Yes.
And I'm learning so much about crypto, about the crypto world. This thing, once this thing catches on, like Ripple, XRP, I think they're XLT, whatever, I forget their thing. But they've been taken to court by the Security Exchange Commission, and they keep winning. The crypto Ripple keeps winning these court cases, and the rest of the world is like, hey, we're using it whether the American government is against them or not. We don't care what their stance is. We like what they have to offer. We're using it anyway. And right now, let me just go in and look. They are knocking XRP. Thank you. They're at 142, $1.42, and earlier they were as low as 60 cents. And on April 4th, they were 61 cents. Now they're at, and then they just hit a high of 148. Now they're at 142. They are knocking it out of the park right now. But this crypto world, you're talking about a decentralized internet. You're talking about decentralized finance, decentralized blockchain, money, all these things, right? And what decentralized means is it's public information, but it's also anonymized. So basically look at it like this, where Neuralink could totally go in with this too. This is the weird thing, where you have an ID card. Right now you have an ID card, right? And you want to go into a club. And so when you go to the club and you show the bouncer your ID, right? Not only does the only thing that the bouncer needs to see is that you're over 21, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, right now, in today's day and age, you have to show them your ID. So it shows them your name, shows them your address, it shows them all this information you might not want a bouncer to know, or anybody else who you show your ID. You're showing them more than you might want them to know. So in this new world of the blockchain, what it does is going to be a way where if you go to a club or whatever or anything, you say, okay, these, what do you need to know from me, and what do I get to keep myself, or what do I get to keep you from seeing? So, okay, if all you need to know is my age, here's my age. They don't need to know your name. They don't need to know anything, right? And so the same thing when, say, you have a concealed weapons permit. So when that cop pulls you over, you have, out of all of the data that you have on this blockchain that you're in possession of, the only thing they need to see is that you have a license, you have insurance, and then if you have a concealed weapons permit or whatever, right? But they only get to see the information that they're allowed to see. It means that you're protected on ways that you've never been protected before. Excuse me. But my fear is, if the government somehow finds a way to centralize this information, right, then they get to see everything. And that's and again, after reading this book, Edward Snowden, Permanent Record, I've lost my faith in the power that the government, especially the US government and the Chinese government as well, but any government that gets that taste of power and control. I mean, our government was tapping into as many phone lines as they can, and they still didn't stop the Boston bombing, right? They said, oh, we have all this technology that stops that type of stuff from happening.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't stop it, and they were using Prism, they were using all that stuff. But what they found out was that these investigators in the NSA, they were actually using that technology to tap in and spy on their loved ones. So, oh, what's my girlfriend doing? I don't know. I'm just going to hack into her computer real quick. I'm just going to hack into her phone. I'm just going to look at all of her conversations on social media. That's what the blockchain is trying to prevent from a government that can just do all of that type of stuff. And not only that, but like open up, the world with commerce, right? It's so crazy. It's so crazy. So there's a lot of this happening all at once. The biggest thing that's happening, though, is the government, the politicians, not the government. The government, they're, the NSA, the CIA, they're getting all this this tech. They're running with this tech too, and they're taking advantage of the fact that our Congress and our Senate and our House, they know that they're stupid. They're too old. This is where term limits comes in. They're too old. They don't understand this technology. We need people that not only understand it, but then know the full ramifications that this stuff can do. So we are literally stepping into the future. This is going to be what America went from the old days to the industrial age times 10. This is going to be the industrial age on steroids.
For sure. And I think at this point, like you said, we want to adapt to a new wave where we want to prevent that shit from happening. Because I'm sure you don't want anybody watching this. I'm sure you don't want your personal fucking information out there for anybody to see, right? So you want to have your privacy. But like you said, once the government has this taste of power where we can control and we can fucking monitor everywhere you go, they're gonna take that. Guarantee. I mean, so like I said, I'm all for it, dude. I'm all for it. Just keep, like they say, you always want to fly under the radar. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're not doing any bullshit, whatever, you're not fucking, you don't have any, your hands aren't dirty or whatever. Cool, live your life. But it's kind of scary to think that anybody could be tapping into my phone, listening to our conversation right now. You know what I'm saying? Or tapping into our cameras, security cameras, and fucking watching you. Fuck that,
And there's, people, we all like the biggest defense that they have is, well, if you have nothing to hide, then you should have nothing to
worry
fear.
About it. Yeah.
Okay, but say, how many women have went to court over porn revenge, right? Revenge porn, where
that's right.
they go in and someone is able to hack into their phone, take their, their dirty shots that they only meant for one person to see, and then they get to share it for the world, right?
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that they had access to, that we're trying to say, hey, you guys, we all have something to hide. We all have something not to hide, but yes, to keep that I want. There's a reason why I have certain conversations with certain people. Those conversations aren't illegal. They're not, and if, my thoughts, my beliefs, I tend to share with who I want to share them with.
For sure.
And if I wanted the government to know, then I would open a public channel and I would put that information out there. So that's what I'm saying, is we still deserve a private life, that the government can't interfere with. So
no, definitely.
Crazy.
For sure. It's crazy. But dude, just in general, just to end that note on the Neuralink topic, it's like you said, it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. It could be a bad thing when it falls into the wrong hands, but it could be a good thing for the people that actually really need it. People that, may be paralyzed, older people that obviously they can't do a lot of the functions that those younger people can do, whatever, because they're at a frail state, whatever. But it's I don't know, man. Like you said, it's technology in general is just rapidly advancing so fucking quick, dude. It's mind blowing to think that this is like stuff we would think about in movies, but no, it's actually really happening. Like it's literally going to come to that point where people can have that that option. Do you want a chip in your head? You can control your phone, or be able to I don't know, do whatever else they fucking come out with. But it's wild. It's just wild though.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And another thing too, let's go. I know so many people hate it when people go conspiracy theorist on this COVID vaccination, but it's so
dude,
weird.
Let's dive into it.
Yeah, it's so weird to me that that like you're seeing. I mean, the government has done everything short of forcing you to get it. But they are putting a lot of pressure on private industries, on like if you want to get on an airplane and you want to go overseas, you have to show that
I saw that
positive, that you have a negative
nuts.
COVID, and I'm okay with that, right? But that's just, to me, that's inching in the direction of mandatory vaccinations.
Yeah.
And I haven't got it. I don't plan on getting it.
Same here, brother.
And it's not that I'm against medical science. It's, I don't like how quick this came. Vaccines take anywhere between 5 to 10 years to develop. There's nothing, no matter how many heads of the world that you throw at something, there's nothing that replaces time. So if we don't know what the long-term effects are from Moderna, from the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and from the other manufacturers, we don't know that yet. And anybody who says that they've researched it is lying. There's nothing that can substitute time. So my theory, I talked to an older gentleman who got the shot, and I, for anybody who gets a shot, I support them, because hey, my body, my choice, right? Definitely. You do you, and I'll do me. If you want to do that, I am more than happy for you. And so I shared, so we were talking about it, and he said he was really, really reluctant about getting the shot, but his son was recently diagnosed with leukemia. And it was such a sad story. I was not ready for that. But he said that he's just trying to make sure, because he's having his son live with him. And so he wants to be introduced as little that can disrupt his son's immune system as possible. And so that was why he got the shot. But we had this theory, both him and I were talking about this, where we said, okay, so the real deal is we're going to find out one of two things can happen. Well, I guess maybe a multiple things, but either we're going to find out that everything's okay, there was nothing to fear, whatever, we're good, right? Or one of two things are going to happen in 5 years. Everybody who got the shot is just going to fall over dead, and they're just going to just all die. And that's how they got to depopulate the world on a grand scheme, Carl Schwab style. I think that's
Carl.
he's your great reset guy. And
Oh God.
or this will be anybody who didn't get the vaccine. What they're doing is they're preparing everybody who did get the vaccine, and they're building up their immune systems, and then in 5 years they're going to release something that is just going to kill anybody who's unprotected, that the vaccine is protecting. And so then people like you, people like me, my family, we're just going to get wiped out, which I'm okay with that. If that's how that goes, I'm okay, because I don't know if I necessarily want to be in this world that is Neuralinking everything, that they, you have to have a chip that you can buy everything on, and whatever. I don't want to be in that world. I want to be, I'm okay with fading out by not getting the vaccine. And if they are developing something that is going to wipe us all out, that are unprotected, and we get the 21st century version of the smallpox blankets.
Oh man, it'll be cell phones.
Yeah, it'll be something. It'll be something. Yeah. But yeah, that's my little conspiracy theory that I'm willing to divulge,
Okay. Now we're in the tinfoil hat segment. Dude, it's you're right. The only thing that makes me sketchy about just this vaccine in general, and just to understand, and just to really kind of think about the hard, it's almost going to be like that decision maker where, like your friend you were talking to, his son has leukemia. He's kind of dealt with that decision. He doesn't want to take that risk to think like, he somehow catches it, passes it down to his son who's not really in a good state right now.
Yeah.
It's really tough to think, people they just want to be safe. They want to take the proper, precautions to stay away from, getting COVID. But at the same time, man, for me, just me in general, I don't trust anything just like that comes to us, like vaccine wise. It was just, it almost feels like we were just talking about COVID-19 in general when we were talking to our boy Brad about just how it started just spreading. And we heard about the first case reaching here in the States. And, to rapidly have something so quick like that, I don't know, man. I just feel there's going to be some issues with it. And it's tough for me to even talk about it because my parents, my dad's diabetic, and he's on that decision where he wants to get it just because he doesn't want to find out, forbid it happens, he catches it and it puts him in a bad situation, man. It would kill me to see that, so I told him, like, Dad, it's up to you. If you want to get it, for your safety, for your health. And if you don't, just take the proper precautions, definitely just, really look after yourself. I suggested for him to take multivitamins, just keep his immune system up to par. So it's just tough, man. And I can understand from both perspectives, right? Just me as in general, as a person, like, I personally don't want to get it, but that will be on me. If that's the risk I'm willing to take, that's going to be on me. But for me, from the outside looking in, thinking of my dad, I worry a bit more because I don't want to see my dad in that state because, he's older, he's diabetic. I don't know, man. It's just tough. It's tough. And I understand. But for me personally, I'm with you. Like, I wouldn't want to take it right now. I would wait for all the kinks to come out. It's kind of like a new product. It's kind of like the new cell phones that come out, right? You don't want the first one that comes out the first couple of weeks. You want the one that comes out the next 1 or 2 months, so that all the kinks are fixed. They updated the software. Boom, you're good, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at this. Literally, that's kind of how I look at the vaccine. So, yeah.
I've even thought about it as far as if in Washington State, we live in a very very liberal state, and that is, I mean, you've seen how they closed so many restaurants, right? And I don't know if we were one of those states where I heard people were getting like arrested for sitting in a park alone, no mask on, but they were in a public spot, and someone called the cops that some guy wasn't wearing a mask. So the cops show up, and he's like, there's no one around me. There's no one around me. Put on your mask. No, I'm not putting on my mask. There's no one around me. And he ends up getting arrested for not wearing his mask. Like, I don't, but I know it was in a liberal state that took place in. And that's, so what my fear is if the local government puts so much pressure on local businesses to say, hey, we need you to take a softer, maybe not softer stance, let's see, a harder stance on getting people in, right? We want your businesses to open. We want your this and that. But if you're part of the problem, if you are going to allow your employees to come back to work without being vaccinated, I've thought about it and I've talked to my wife about it. If that ever happens to me and I'm forced to do that, like vaccine, Texas just signed a law saying that they are not doing the vaccine visas. They are not going to that they are pushing against that. And right now, the Biden administration, they're really pushing that type of thing. And they keep saying publicly that no, we're not going to force it. We're not going to force it. But we know that behind closed doors, that there's a lot of pressure being put on private businesses for them to make the decision instead, or to appear that they're making the decisions. And that's, again, maybe that's just my distrust for the government, but I'm one of those people. I just do not trust the government, no matter who's in power, because I know that they just, ever since Snowden really opened my eyes to how corrupt our government is. And so so anyway, it would be one of those things where I'd have to make that decision to say, can't do it, and so it would be a life changer. But I've saved up enough money, I have enough equity to where I could make that decision. And it'd be a shitty thing to have to walk away, but I would not let this state dictate what I do with my health. And
For sure.
and I'm wearing my mask, I'm responsible. If I'm sick, I'm not going anywhere, whatever. But for our local government to not trust that, and to, if they ever get to that point where they're going to force something, I'm walking away. I'm not taking part in that.
Yeah, I think at that point, if we start seeing kind of like the real picture to where, they're forcing people to do that, I think at that point, it's almost kind of like we need to have that situation happen so we can actually unite at one point and be like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're all here, obviously fighting for the same cause. If you're on that same side of just, if you want to travel, you got to get the shot. If you want to go here, you got to get the shot. If you want to be able to go to grocery stores, you got to get the shot. Now, fuck all that, dude. I mean, we even talked about that before on an episode, a couple episodes ago, about how, we had a theory at that point that they would make it mandatory for you to get that if you needed to go to the store,
Yes.
grocery store, you want to go to fly out of the country, you got to get a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And at work too, our employers, you know what I'm saying? We had a fear of that, to where they're going to try to make you to get that, or else you're not going to be employed here. Sorry.
Yeah.
So nah, fuck all that. So
that's another reason, brother, that I'm going, I'm one of those people that the government hates, because I'm not putting any of my extra money out into the economy to support the large corporations.
Yeah, you're hiding in your socks.
No, it's all going in crypto. It's
Okay.
all of my extra money that I have. I've tightened it, and I'm just like, because I know I'm going to need this one day. And the writing is on the wall. All these NFL players, they're I guess NFL, they've said, and maybe it's the NBA too, where they're offering their players, hey, you can take half of your wage in Bitcoin if you want. And
I think I saw something like that.
A lot of people are taking advantage of that. And if you look at Bitcoin right now is at $60,000. At the time of this recording, Bitcoin is sitting at $60,414.
Wow.
Okay. And for the last 8 years that it's been in, there was only 1 year, I think it was 2018, where it was lower than 2017, but that's because they had a major dip, right, in the crypto world. And we might be overdue for another one, which is okay, because I'm holding on to everything, hold on to it, and ride out the storm. But anyway, it exponentially grows every year. So what's really cool is this week alone, I have worked with so many people, getting so many people into the crypto space. And I've helped them with their investments. I've helped them get set up with their Coinbase account. So it's like, again, we're early in the game. The mainstream has not adopted crypto, the blockchain technology. So we're all getting in early, make all of our money, and then by the time the mainstream gets into it, we're all going to be sitting like fat hogs. That's the goal.
Hey man, you got to make a move somehow to really find out if that's going to be, if that's going to play out like you say it is, you know what I'm saying? So it's better to at least fucking do it and see if it is going to pan out. You know what I'm saying? Instead
Yeah.
of not just sitting back on the sidelines. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so it's cool. So even my wife, she's constantly. I told her, I said, hey, if you wanna start in, this is what I tell people: the two that you should be really looking at the closest, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Go into those two, and then if you like what you're doing, you like what you can handle the volatility of it, where you go up one day, you go down the next, da 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 da. If you like that and you can stomach the pain of losing money, start with those two. And then, but if you adapt to it, and then you're like, okay, I want to go more. I want to look at, instead of going up 2 or 3%, I want to go up 20, 30, 40%. They're out there this week. Basic attention token, BAT, and VET, VChain, they both just blew up. And I missed out on VET. Or not VET. I have VET. I missed out on BAT. I actually sold my BAT for some other coins that were making me like 5%, but I missed a huge bull run that they just did this week. Yesterday, actually, they climbed from, it went from like 126 to or no, like 119 all the way to 148, and now they're like 150. And also, who's the other one? Very similar, XRP. They did something very similar yesterday. They were at 104. They went all the way up to 148. 39% gain for Ripple. So those gains are out there. If that means, if you're someone who put in $1,000, right? You put in $1,000, and you at 104, $1,000 at 104. Let's see. Hold on. Let me do the math real quick, just so I'm not. So you would have made, just in one day, $423. One day. But that's not every day. That was just, it was, what happened was, the news had came out that there were other people getting ready to relist Ripple, and then also with the Security Exchange Commission, that it looks like the judge was reading it, and it was like basically signaling that, hey, this case is going nowhere. So it looks like Ripple's going to win this case. So all of a sudden, boom, it just spiked. People are wanting it. So I think that's going to be a big one. I think that's going to be a big one. And that was one that because of, they looked real shady as a company. They looked real shady, but
yeah,
because they look shady to me doesn't mean that, there's a lot of other people that are supporting it. So
yeah.
anyway,
No,
that's what it is.
That's interesting stuff. And the only, and I'm keeping my eye on it too, because I mean, this might not go in hand, but with NFTs too. Tom Brady said he's going to launch a company with having to deal with NFTs, right, or something like that.
Dude, so many sports figures are making it. It makes all the sense. I mean, Michael Jordan was in on it. I forget. Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think it's great that, because we need that type of attention in the crypto space to build our portfolios, to grow our portfolios. Without the Tom Brady's and the Michael Jordans, we're not moving anywhere. But when they start getting into the game, all of a sudden our portfolio starts swelling up. Next thing you know, I'm doing a Tip Touch podcast from my yacht.
Oh, dude, no, fuck. We'll be landing a chopper in your yacht, because your yacht will just be floating out in the middle of the ocean. That's why.
That's right. We'll be literally chasing UFOs and doing live cast, while we're doing it.
We're all, the wind's blowing, our fucking Hawaiian shirts just flopping against our freaking skin because there's so much wind, and then we see UFOs coming down.
Letting all my hamburger meat pour out.
Oh, dude, that would be the fucking dream. But since you brought UFOs, I got something for you, Brett, in regards to the UFO. I was hoping, since you brought that up. So, on my personal page on Instagram, I shared this before I went to bed yesterday, I believe. But I also shared it on our Instagram page. If you haven't followed us, definitely go do so at the Tip Touch Podcast on Instagram. So there was a actual photo that a Navy fighter jet pilot took of this unidentified, just flying object where he was flying. He took out his phone, took a picture.
I'm looking at it.
So they sent it over in the Pentagon, and I'm gonna read you a quote coming straight from the Pentagon from Susan Gough, Pentagon spokesperson. So this is what she says. I can confirm that the reference photos and videos were taken by Navy personnel. The UAPTF has included these incidences in their ongoing examinations, as we have said before, to maintain operation security and to avoid disclosing information that may be useful. The details of either the observations or the examinations of reported incursions into our training ranges or designated airspace, including those incursions initially designated as UAP.
Wow,
I mean,
dude.
I don't know how much people can fucking what. I mean, I think we need to get to that point, Brett, where for anybody to at least get the wheel spinning, and I think people don't even have like that like attention on where we're really fucking with, not fucking, but we're really dealing with something that we don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And we're seeing them like more often than before. Or we could say that before they used to talk about it, but people wouldn't really give a fuck, you know, even like kind of raising a brow, like, well, what's really out there? What is it? I think now, I think this year will be the year that something crazy is gonna
You think
happen.
so?
I honestly believe at this point, dude, it's almost like they know what it is, but they don't want to tell us because it's just going to be like it's going to change if it does happen. I'm just saying my theory. If it does happen, where they present to us some kind of proof of something that's coming from God knows where, it's going to change history. It's going to change everything, dude.
Well,
everything.
So okay, so I was watching this documentary or whatever, this thing today on Netflix, and but this was from 2014. So you know, back then it was Obama was still president,
Okay.
And so they were basically going up with all of the UFO information up until Obama, but they were talking about how every president from Harry S. Truman all the way up to our current president have had some sort of exposure to UFOs. Even like Reagan, when he was governor or campaigning for governor of California, they said that he saw a UFO from his jet, his Cessna jet. He saw one, you know, and it was just zigzagging along. They said that George H.W. Bush, the George Sr., that he was part of the CIA, that they dealt with this stuff. So he knew some stuff. Clinton, you know, he said that when he came in, he had two questions: are UFOs real, and who killed Kennedy? And they were talking about him. They were talking about Nixon. Apparently, Nixon had some sort of a thing going on with UFOs. They were talking about how the America was threatened because they knew that Germany had been exposed to UFOs, and there was a UFO crash over in Germany. And so they're saying that the technology that we have today, because it just all of a sudden spiked, they were saying that it was from damage or from the aircraft. We were able to use some of their transistors and use that to, you know, take our big boob boob tube televisions. Yeah, that's tequila talking, baby. Big boob tube televisions. Remember those big blocks they used to be? I remember we used to have one in our house that was just like, it sat on the floor. It was so big.
Yeah.
And you just watched it from the floor. And then yeah, and it had the little channels. You had to, you know, you had the upper and the lower.
Yeah.
Crazy. But now, you know, you can make TVs that are no more than an inch thick.
Oh, dude, it's crazy.
And they say that is from UFO technology. So I don't know, man. I think I'm with you though, as far as the information is slowly coming out about this stuff. And last year at this time, I mean, dude, I remember I used to go back and forth with you all the time on, you know, hey, I just need to see more. I was a skeptic. I was a
for sure.
But it's like the more and more I look into it, the more and more I see of it, there's obviously something that has went on. And so I don't know. And I think that what it is the technology is so advanced that the US is being protective of it, and they don't want anybody else to have it. And so that's why I think the real secret as to why they're trying to keep everything quiet. It's just to protect this country. So
I agree.
That's my theory.
It's like you said, they want to keep everything that they find out from whatever this thing is to themselves, to implement it with our own technology and just advance at that point to where, like you said, for it could be used for weaponry, for the army. I mean, think about it. I mean, like we mentioned before, Microsoft got that $1 billion contract to make those special goggles for the soldiers to where they can see around walls, Brett. That's some fucking movie shit. Like what the fuck? Like now we're like
so explain that. So you can stand here and you have a corner, like a 90-degree corner around
you can see whoever is exactly.
You can bend. How does that happen? Really?
Hey, UFO technology, right?
Dude, that's true. That's
right?
True.
I mean, we never know. I mean, I'm just saying. People, you take it for however you want it. The proof is in the pudding so far, in the sense of like there's something out there. And I've got more interested in this only because of the story of Bob Lazar. Like honestly, that's my only like gateway into this, because of the story that he had to tell. Him like getting literally dragged for calling, like for pretty much saying he was just making this up for money, making this up for fame. You do your own research, you listen to the stuff that he says, and then fast forward to now, even all the interviews that he went when he went on the Joe Rogan podcast, and you be the judge, man. But I think honestly, he was one of the cats that actually worked on some of this aircraft that was not from this planet. And he says himself, like the reactors and just how everything worked, it's mind-blowing shit. And then now, even now, I mean, you fast forward now, all this stuff that all these, like you said, like with the TVs and with these goggles, I mean,
cell phones,
AirPods. Come on. I mean, how do you think that probably came about? I mean, we don't know the truth. I don't think they're going to tell us the fuck, like you said, they want to keep everything under wraps. So I get it, but there's going to be a time and place where this is going to really come, the light will reveal the truth. So it's going to be at that point where something's going to fucking pop up and voila. So
here's I want to end it on some silver lining, right? I know that I get so, caught up in just the distrust I have for the government, right?
Yeah.
But there's still enough good people in the world. What if we could use this technology to eradicate sickness, right? Like cancer, leukemia, diabetes, all of this crap that we're dealing with that is just pumping the coffers of the pharmaceutical businesses and hospitals. What if we could develop a technology and what if they already have it? I mean, and finally we're just waiting for one person to release it. All it takes is one person to say, hey, here's the cure. This is the cure for cancer right here. And this is how we do it. And boom, we start seeing people, living. Now, I think it will take some discussion about world population at that point. We will have to start making some serious decisions where maybe, hey guys, here's the deal. We can offer this thing that's going to eradicate cancer and sickness or whatever. You're never going to get sick again. You're going to die just when your organs fail naturally.
Yeah.
But in order for us to release this, we will not release this until we can come up with a minimum, like of having children, because we know that if we keep people living longer, that there's always going to be people that die to suicide and to car accidents and to whatever. So there's always going to be that type of thing, right? But think of all the people that are dying from heart disease. Think of all the people that are dying from pneumonia, from all this other stuff that you could potentially prevent.
Yeah.
And all the cancer deaths, right? We would run into some really, really serious issues. And I know China tried to do it, where they had this draconian policy of having one child in the family. And where they went wrong with it was they said, okay, the male will make the money. And so there was a premium on males, right? So all these families were having one child. And if it was a female, they would do whatever. They would get rid of her somehow, right? And they wanted a male. So they would hold out, they would have a male. But then what happened is you had a whole generation of males and very little females to procreate with, right? And so now they're going overseas to find a female spouse. right? And so it turned into such a crisis for their country that they had to end it. But what, so what about that? How would you solve that problem? Because that's the problem that would be created with this miracle of healing cancer.
Yeah.
But it just creates another issue. And so that's what we would have to, I think, decide on a global stage. So that's where, Carl Schwab, when this great reset happens and it's under his dominion, you know, maybe they've already worked it out. Maybe they've already worked it out. But those are the things that we would have to face. And so anyway, but that's the thing. I guess even my silver lining went to shit.
I understood what you said.
My whole goal was to say, what if we could just end cancer, end sickness, and in that would be the coolest thing to have is to know that we have all of our brains and the UFO technology that comes with it. Thanks, aliens. Could eradicate that, and I see that, like, I see this blockchain as a way to eradicate poverty in a way that we've never seen before, and we'll have to save that for another show, another episode. But
fuck yeah.
But I do, like, as crazy as all this new stuff it is to think about. It's kind of scary because it's like the unknown. We're stepping into the unknown.
Exactly.
But, like, through crypto, I'm grabbing the bull by the horns. And if anybody is interested in crypto and you guys have questions, hit me up. I'm not a genius by any stretch, but I've been in it for a little while, and yeah, and then but I've learned a lot, and I've helped people get in there. I've taught people, hey, this is what you want to look for, whatever. So I'm happy to help anybody who has questions. If not, tons of resources on YouTube, Reddit, and go to those. Just Google cryptocurrency news. You'll find resources such as CoinDesk, Cointelegraph. Those are a couple of my favorites. There's some other ones too that I can't think of right at the top of my head. But anyways, there's some really good resources out there that show you good news, what to do, what this new technology is all about. Learn about it and make your move. It's still way early in the party. Even, for people that haven't put a dime into it, there's still time. There's still plenty of time. And we haven't even hit a bear market. Once we hit a bear market, everybody that's making money today, if they don't pull out before the market drops, you might be right on par with everybody else just for holding, just for waiting. So, but anyway, yeah, it's a crazy game, but I've seen a lot of people get rich off of stupid shit. And that's my goal.
You're never gonna know until you try. Like I said, until you fucking take that step to actually find out. And it's better to actually act upon it and to not like live life saying, "What if I did, invest or whatever?" You know what I'm saying?
The worst part is going to be seeing somebody get insanely rich, and then you're just like, "Man, I was right there, and I had this opportunity." I know a guy at work who was in that same boat where there was a company. So they were living in Utah. One kid had a bunch of Bitcoin, and he's like, nope, I'm just going to hold on to it. The other kid, he felt like he wanted to be a trader and started trading the Bitcoin. Oh, okay, Bitcoin's up. Okay, I'm going to go into this one. I'm going to go into this one. And so he decided not to hold. So he was deciding to trade. So all he was doing was chasing the other, if one coin would go up, whatever, he'd get into it, and he ended up losing all of his very little. I mean, all that happened was in 2017, there was a massive dip and he lost everything. And so, now he's working with us. Whereas his friend bought a bunch of Bitcoin, held on to it. All of a sudden, even through the dip, held on to it. Dip rose. We're talking over $1 million. Sold his Bitcoin, started a Bitcoin tax company, and the tax company just recently raised $100 million. And so that's the life he's living, right? I mean, so that's going to happen. You're going to see so many stories where people are going to be making those types of moves. People that are less patient are going to be the losers. People that take no action at all are going to be the losers. And the people that just go at it and invest and hold. And, I think that ultimately those are going to be the winners.
There you
So
have it our crypto expert here,
just
Brett motherfucking Otto.
slightly buzzed off tequila.
Nah, he's dropping those. What is it? Those gems, dude, for people out there that are into it. There you go. I mean, hey, dude, like I said, I definitely want to talk about that more off air because especially now that I'm getting situated with us moving and all that. I definitely want to see if I could put some money aside into that as well, just to be prepared because I'm
Bro,
like that. I want to be prepared and have a plan. So
I'll
yeah.
tell you this on the air because this is the same thing. I'm going to tell you the same thing I'm going to tell anybody else who wants to start. Go to Coinbase, start an account, put $100 in.
All right.
Just do that. That's a minimum. That just gets your foot into the game. Lets you get your toes wet. And also, though, if you know someone who has a Coinbase account, use that. It's a what is that called? A code. Where you get money. Oh man, what's that
Like
called?
a referral code?
Referral code. Thank you.
Okay.
If someone's getting you into the crypto game, use that referral code that they give you. And then not only with Coinbase, what they're doing right now is they're giving you $10 in Bitcoin for putting in $100. And then they're giving the person who referred you $10 in Bitcoin. And so help each other out. That's the other cool thing about this game is you can help each other out that way. And then the other way is I have a Telegram. If anybody is on Telegram, I do have a crypto page that you can follow. It's called Crypto Finance and Tech. If you just type in Crypto Finance and Tech, right now I have a total of 2 subscribers, but
It's gonna be 2,000 here sooner or later, man.
I'm gonna say I'm just gonna start. It's just I've been real slow about doing it because I've been in the learning stage, right?
Yeah.
But now that I'm like I'm having some things, I'm seeing my own portfolio jump the way it's jumping. I'm like, okay, good. I know what I'm doing. I'm doing good. Then I'm happy enough to share with some of that stuff. And what I can do is some of these new coins that are coming up. You can hear it directly from me. And I'll just show you. Like there's one coin that I've signed up for their list, and once they come out, I'll connect people that want to know with all that information to that information. So again, that's Crypto Finance and Tech, and on Telegram.
Plug it up.
So
I'll plug it up too on the description for people that if they want to subscribe and all that, they can do so by just clicking on that link, and it'll take you direct to that.
yeah, and I've been slow with my YouTube channel. I haven't done much with that only because things have been busy right now. But hopefully I'll be able to get back on there. But yeah, man. Anyway, $100. That's what I say. So $100 Coinbase, do that. And right now, Bitcoin is they're hitting their all-time high, and I think they're going to go higher. I think right now last night they flirted with hitting that ceiling, but I think you're going to see them go above that. And I think this year there's so many predictions. People are saying they're going to get as high as 75,000. And some of these banks that have always been reluctant about Bitcoin, some of these banks are saying that it can get, let me go here, JP Morgan, Bitcoin price prediction is 130,000. Citibank Bitcoin price prediction is 318,000. Guggenheim Bitcoin price prediction is 600,000. And so people that have been anti-Bitcoin are all of a sudden getting real bullish on this cryptocurrency. So again, this is why I say if even if you're getting in now, you're still getting in early.
There you go.
So
there you go. Some bars. But again, yeah. So we'll end it off on that note. Again, we're gonna plug that up for your channel on so once again, just shout it out for the people so they can hear it.
Oh, the Telegram. Yeah, Telegram. It is Crypto Tech and Finance.
Okay, there you go. There you have it. And I'll definitely put that in the
description. I'm sorry, Crypto Finance and Tech. Shit.
It's all good. It's that tequila talking. No worries. Yeah, we'll definitely plug that up on the description. So, like I said, to give people a direct link to take them to that. Of course, as always, go check us out on YouTube. Check out another previous episode that we released, episode 56, titled High Times. Very funny episode. Go check that out. Follow us there as well. Subscribe, comment, like on all our videos. Follow us on Instagram at the Tipitch Podcast, where you can see all the latest posts, clips, just anything having to do with the podcast and any updates, that come out, that we post up of up and coming episodes that we have coming out. But yeah, until then, we'll catch you in the next one. This is the Tipitch Podcast signing out, episode 57, baby. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Have a good weekend or weekday. By the time this one releases, weekday, I think, or weekend. One of the two. Yeah. Okay, one of the two. But take care. We'll see you in the next one. Tipitch Podcast is out. Woo!